Otherwise, why would you read your Bible more than once or twice? I mean, after all, you are reading something you've already read. You know what it says, okay? Now, you probably, on a very rare occasion, because you may have dozed off a few times reading, will find something you didn't know was there, but that's rare. What you do sometimes find, though, is stuff that's there that you didn't understand or see the same way you saw it before. But if you've read your book a few times, it's going to be very unusual or unlikely that you're going to actually read something going, wow, I didn't know that was in there. Well, of course, you read it all those times. You know it was in there, but all of a sudden he got your attention and said, oh, and usually it's in connection to, that's what Rabbi meant when he said this, this, and this. See, we're all thinking from a Christian point of view, or whatever point of view, what can we ask of him? No, you need to understand what he's asking of you, because based on what he's asking of you, that's going to determine what he's going to offer or give to you. Okay? Now, this is after they should have understood that they covenanted, but they're now wondering, well, what does that really look like? What is he really asking? What does he want me to actually do? Well, he wants you to obey every word that comes out of his mouth. Well, but what does that look like? Every one of you has had an experience in your life where you didn't want to do something, but then when you went and did it, then you were glad you did it, and the feeling came second. Motion generates emotion. Okay? If any of you ever went to a gym on any regular basis, you know there were days you didn't want to go, but once you went, you were glad you went, and you were happy you were there, and you got into it. But it was the motion of going that generated the emotion. If you waited for the emotion, you wouldn't have gone. So when it says in Deuteronomy chapter 10 that it's his pleasure to choose the forefathers, our father's seed, to be part of the covenant, this explains that that's not just literal, genetically related, biologically related deal. You become just as much the seed of Abraham as anyone that was actually born literally to him, like Isaac, okay, by your choice to be of Messiah. And he says, and he chose their seed, which is now available for you to have that designation no matter what your birth was. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care what country you came from. I don't care whatever background you had. It's the choice that makes the lineage. That's according to what we just read in Galatians. Okay, so that's how we can understand chapter 10 of Deuteronomy. Okay, so this is not about anything but choice. If you believe. See, we are not generationally anymore in a world where people spoke this way, where they would say things like, I come in the name of the king, or I come in the name of so-and-so, and that was your authority. And you expected, if you came in or spoke in someone's name, that you would make sure not to embarrass that person. As a matter of fact, it was common by the time you get to Yeshua, and the Talmud is written this way, where people spoke in the name of their teacher. So you'd have Rabbi so-and-so speaking in the name of Rabbi so-and-so. So I'm speaking on behalf of my teacher. But then it was incumbent upon them to be in line with their teacher. Because after all, you're now invoking that name. You should not be attributing it to something that it's not connected to. And notice he wants us to respect authority. What's the very first authority you run into in your life? Your mother and your father. And I have absolutely no doubt that if you never learn to respect them, then you were challenged in respecting every other authority in your life. Oh, but Rabbi, you don't know how hard it was to respect them. Oh, I'm sure. I counsel people. I have my own experience with mine. I know what it's like. But it's something we still need to learn. And so if you didn't have a good situation with your parents, now that means that you need to learn it in another context. So we know that Yahweh is our Elohim and that he is one. And by the way, Yahweh is one doesn't just mean that there's one being. It's talking about there is a unity of all that is him, which includes the body. We are his body. We're the body of Messiah. So there should be echad, oneness within the body. The greatest goal anyone could ever have is to be in the kingdom. And it's got to be thought of as a goal because you do not have it already lock, stock, barrel, signed, sealed, and delivered like Christianity might have taught you. It is your goal. And because it's your goal, you're going to put all of your might, all of your strength, all of your effort, all of your thoughts into what do I need to do on a daily, weekly, annual basis, whatever, lifetime basis to get there. Now, how do you impress them on your children? By walking this out and letting them see and get an impression of what it looks like in you. See, we think of impress means like, you take something and you actually press something into it and you push it in and you force. I'm going to take this in a different direction because I've seen the other one. It doesn't work anyway. How about impress them so they see that they're impressed with the walk? They're impressed with the fruit. They're impressed with the results. If your house is a disaster and a mess, they're wondering, well, you claim that all this stuff does all this stuff, and yet mommy and daddy are fighting all the time, and all this other junk is happening, and this one's drinking, and this one's doing this other thing, and blah, 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 blah. And this is what that looks like? They're not impressed.